Hey, this is Skully. I'm making this video to illustrate how I went about in the last couple of years writing full time, because it's very different to what most people are like. I keep on getting asked about it, and because I'm lazy, I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over and again. So I thought I'd make a quick video to explain it, and a lot of people might find this useful. Now, you might ask yourself, why would I show everyone what I've done? A lot of people know that I do like to help, but really people read a lot faster than I can write, so there's plenty of room for people to replicate what I've done, and other people are, and we'll go through some of those today. Now, I've been writing for the last 2 years. Before that, I've had various full-time jobs. I like to say I'm on my third career, and I've always wanted to write, and I love writing because writing is a way of generating passive income for you. You're working for yourself. You can write the books that when you're reading the book and you think, oh, I wish it went this way, I wish they did that. You can write the book that you want to read. And it's just a great career to have. And if you write over 20 years, if you write 30 books, 40 books, 50 books, whatever, you can easily retire off the money that they generate for you. And it's not just about the money. Other than getting bad reviews, I can't really say anything negative about that, but we'll talk about that more later. Anyway, let's get stuck into this. And because I want to talk about some themes and some websites and some ways that people aren't aware that exist with the new interweb of things, the new Internet of Things. We'll start with a website known as Royal Road. Now, Royal Road is one of the first websites I went to. I think I went to Gravity Tales first. And what they do is they host novels. Anyone can write a book and just start writing a book. Let's just pick someone here that's just, he's done 22 chapters, or she. And this is a typical Royal Road novel here. And you can see here, is this fairly typical. Lit RPG is very common on Royal Road, but it doesn't have to be lit RPG. That's if you don't know what that is, Google that. Gore, profanity, sexual content, traumatizing content. Might be R-rated. It's definitely not XXX rated here. And you can see this person's actually been really stuck into it. 26 days ago, they've got 22 chapters in 26 days. Now let's just have a quick look at how many words. He's got a lot of tables. I hate these tables, but this is what lit RPG is. So how many words he's got other than in his chapter. I'm assuming it's a his. Sorry for assuming your gender. So he's got 2,000 words. So that's average. Some people write 8,000. Average is 2,000 or 3,000 words per chapter. And this is one of the great things about this. You can start writing and get some feedback straight away. You don't have to write and rewrite a book for over 40 times, send it to a professional, and they send it back to you saying nothing much other than their copy and paste letter that they send to everyone. You can get feedback right away from readers, and sometimes it's not all good. But he's only got a few comments here, but a lot of this is perseverance at the start. You just put yourself out there. And this is typical of someone starting. So we'll just go back to here and have a look at his figures. He's got a 4.65 rating, which is quite high, but he's only got 23 ratings so far. He's only got 7,000 views and 310 views per chapter. But the story is just starting, so it's a bit of a snowball effect. Really, most people like to see about 50 chapters before they pick something up. And if it's in the genre that they're looking for, they'll pick it up. And other people, it's like anything. This is the hardest part. You've got to work hard at it. You've got to keep on posting regularly, and not necessarily have it like this. The first 90 days, the strategies of getting into the trending system on Roll Road. So if we go to the front page, this trending here is where you'll first get noticed, and that's based on the number of views that you have compared to the number of views you're getting. So the more chapters you have, the better. After a 3-month shelf life, once the book has been on, or web serial, as I like to call them, has been on Royal Road for 3 months, it will disappear off trending fictions. Now, you might ask yourself here, you've come here from, you want to write stories, why am I looking at this? the key thing about sites like Royal Road is building followers. So I'm just getting into the nuts and bolts of Royal Road at the moment. But the key thing to be successful is, what a few things. You've got to write a good story. But this place will give you a few things. Now, it's not going to work if you're writing Twilight, romance, YA stuff, because that genre just will not work on the site. So really the site needs to be fantasy science fiction of some description. There are a few other things that will work. Things that are like anime sort of stuff will work. This Metaworld Chronicles is very popular. And you see here that she has reincarnation strong lead. So it's got this sort of fantasy reincarnation, makes you think that it's like Wuxia or something like that. She's got slice of life. But this is quite a popular one. But if you come to the site, you can have a read of a few of these popular stories just by going to, active only ranking, and you'll see any of the books on this page. You'll get a feel for what's going on here. This one that's come from another fiction press site. This one is one of the biggest on the site. So you can see here it's got 20 million views. It's been around a long time. So this one here is another big one. For 5 million views, but the chapters are very, very long. You look at this, 12,600 pages. And only 360. So she has a lot of followers, the author of this, as Metaworld. So a lot of these I know, they've been here for a long time. This one's fairly new. But it's already got 4,000 followers. So that's the recipe that you need here. Is these followers equate a living if you monetize them correctly. If you do nothing, you could be like some of these and not monetize them at all, when some of these monetize them very well. But we'll go through that. So the key thing is with a site like this is you can put your story up and you can get some feedback straight away, which is great for an author. I learned a lot. You can practice on here. You can put up your first draft and garbage edit it yourself, probably a good idea, and you can get lots of good feedback. 10% of the feedback you've got to ignore, like that, and it's part of learning the ropes there. You'll get 30% good feedback from people that are giving you good advice, and then 60% of people will just read it and they won't say a thing, or well, thanks for chapter or something like that. But so when you read the feedback, if you get some really negative feedback, you just read it, you take it in. If it doesn't apply to you, if it's wrong, just reject it. Don't try. This is the hardest thing in the world, and I say this a lot, it's hard to do. Don't take it personally. All right? You've got to separate the work from yourself, and it's about improving. It's about improving your writing as well, that feedback. Now, okay, so let's move on from Royal Road. From Royal Road, there are other websites. Another one of the big ones is Web Novel. Web Novel is a big website. If we go to their main page here, you can see this has come out of China, and it's got a lot of their original stories are English original stories, and you have here, these are all the Chinese translations, and they're quite popular too. This is a big website for English as a second language. It gets a lot of flack for the quality of the writing, but for people who have English as a second language, it is actually quite good quality for some of those, and the simple stories seem to do quite well. However, this website can also be used for garnering followers. So the moral of the story is that you start off with on sites like Royal Road. Now let's just have a look at we'll go back to that one. So we go to Mother of Learning here, and this is a very, very popular story. Look at its statistics. It's got 1.1 million views. It's only been up for 5 months. A lot of it was pre-written, so that there was a lot of chapter dump at the beginning. It's got 2,600 pages, which is quite a lot. As you know, that's probably enough for 5 novels. The way that these pages work here is 10 pages is about 3,000 words. So it's about 300 words per page. So you can work out how many words that is. You just times that by 300, and that's how many pages it is. Well, then that equates to it might be more if it was on Amazon. It might be 2,800, 2,900 pages on Amazon, because Amazon might be 250 words per page. All right, so then you go into a chapter here, and you can straight away see if she's got it linked. The author of Mother of Learning. There's Patreon. Now this is the first step. So she's got 570 patrons, but 15 of she's using a different system. So she's using, okay, she'll release a chapter when she gets that amount. Okay. Now this is probably not a good example. This is an example. That's not bad money, but compared to how many followers that she has, she's got 5,300 followers. It's very popular. It's got a high rating. It's ranked number 1. This is a terrible way to monetize it. Well, not terrible. There are better ways to monetize it. Okay. Threadbare. Now, Threadbare is another story that has gone. We're going to go through the stepping stones of putting your work online, first draft online free, to Patreon, to Amazon. This guy has skipped Andrew Selby. That's actually his name on Amazon. Has skipped sort of Patreon, or there's a Patreon, but it doesn't do a lot, and he's gone straight to Amazon. So if we have a look at his figures. He's got 1.8 million views. He's got an excellent rating, overall score 4.67. So he's posted up here. He's dumped a lot of chapters. As you can see, they're all 16 months, and they all came out very, very quickly. So, and he must have, obviously doesn't have Kindle KU on there because he would have to remove the chapters, but we'll get into that as well later. So he's gone here, he's put his story here, and then it's gone to Amazon. So you can see here, that's one of his chapters. So if we showed how many words he's got, oops, it's just good to know how many words someone has. So he's got 1,900 words, so it's about the average as well. And there's a Patreon link there, but he'll probably have it in his synopsis as well. He's got his Amazon link, so he doesn't have his Patreon link there. So here's his Patreon. He's not really monetizing it very well. And we can actually see the descriptions down here. So if you read this here, it's go down to his bottom one. This tier is where I will post concept art, RPG, supplements and games. So if you offer the thing to converting people on the Patreon, you've got to give them something and whatnot. Patreon, other than a very, very select few who are very, 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 very popular, it won't work unless you do the advanced chapters strategy. You won't do it any money. But this guy here, he does have posts here, but I don't necessarily. Well, they are. Look, that's a chapter, but he doesn't have any advanced chapters in here, and so he's not really. I hope he's making a lot of money off Amazon because he's not really getting a lot of money off Patreon to sustain himself. Okay, so I wanted to give that an example. This guy's a fantastic author. His book is very popular. We'll have a look at it on Amazon. He's got 149 reviews. That's book 1, and he's got a 3-book series. So there's his 3-book series there, and you can use the reviews as an idea. You can use these scores as an idea as well. However, that's Kindle Store. That is not ebook. So that rating doesn't really. So I've had my ratings change by 100% in a day. So go for 20 to 10 in certain things. So this is not perfect. But the reviews. So don't put be all and end all in these numbers here, especially which fantasy, adventure, fiction. Well, that's really broad. They're very broad categories there. They're not like a magic in Eastern magic fantasy. And as you can see, he doesn't have Kindle Unlimited, which does affect his ratings. And that's why he's able to leave it up on Royal Road. Of course, if you go Kindle Unlimited, you have to remove it from the free websites. But it's a stepping stone process, and you can do this. And the key thing here is I'll get into when I show you mine. So let's go to, okay, here's one of my main works on Royal Road. So you can see here, yeah, we don't need to show that. Oh, actually, we will show that. You can see here how I have released one book, and the second one's going to release soon. So because I'm on Kindle Unlimited, I've got book 1 here, and it jumps straight to book 2. That's the 10% there, okay? It does hurt me a little bit. People get upset when it's here and they're missing 10%. But as you can see, I'm down to chapter 120 here. And people who've been reading this for a couple of years, or a year, that's 15 months, people who've been reading this for a year and a half are up to these last chapters. So they really don't care if I remove these chapters. But what they also do, if they're a really big fan, a really good supporter, they will go and buy the book on Amazon, and they will give it a review, and they give you a boost. Now, the year work that you put into putting in a site like this will translate into a boost on Amazon, which will give you the kickstart that you need to get noticed. If you just go and write a book, put it straight up on Amazon, and you say, what advertising do I need to do? Well, this is the best advertising you can possibly do, is just work. No money whatsoever, build a following. So I've only got 2,700 followers. It has only got 1 million views. So I've got less than some of the others that I was showing you, but we're doing quite well on Amazon. And as you can see here, I've even worked out where the chapters are going to go. So this is book 2, and that'll all go except for 10%. And this is book 3. And then when I release book 3, that'll all have to go. All right, so when we go into one of these chapters, you can see here how I'm telling people go and do the pre-order for book 2. I even give you a nutshell here. So you're talking to your readers all the time, and there's a Patreon link which will take them directly to my Patreon. I won't click on that just yet. Now that's where I deleted the chapters. So the red ones where this is the control panel that you have as an author, and you do get lots of tools, especially on Royal Road, to see. It really helps you page for the interactivity, and how even has this thing where people are coming from, which is not perfect, by the way. But you know, you see how it's trending in numbers and things like that. Okay. Now, so I also have the same book on web novel. So I've got 2,700 followers from Royal Road, and web novel, I've done the same thing. I've removed the chapters, go straight to book 2, chapter 36, and it's got over 1 million views. So it's got actually more views on web novel than it does Royal Road. So there's some people that come to one website and some people that come to another. Now this is the Royal Road number. So I'm showing you all my numbers now. So I've got 7,000 followers on web novel and 1.7 million views. So this all helps. The word count's obviously off because I pulled chapters, and the chapter count's off because I've pulled chapters. Even gives us a breakdown of where the readers are coming from. This will change depending on what sort of type it is. Now, web novel, I talked a bit about Royal Road. Web novel is a little bit different. You should look at the books on there, but it has a broader scope of types of readers. It has readers that read romance. It'll have, if you want to write a military fiction, it has a broader scope of readers. It's not as narrow as Royal Road. Now we come to Patreon. Now, Patreon is what pays the bills. Now, I know if you go to here, this number will be hidden. Now, Patreon, the key to Patreon is I have, as you can see, we'll just pull up this one here. The readers get up to chapter 120, and they want to read what comes next. On Patreon, I have up to chapter 140, and if they pay $1, they can just read access to unedited chapters and some other things. So it's just a basic support. If they pay $4, they get 3 advanced chapters, and they're supporting me in becoming a full-time author. If they pay $10, they get 8 advanced chapters, and if they pay $20, they get 20 advanced chapters. So it's $1 a chapter, basically. And that continues, right? So once they log in and pay, so this number here is actually quite a lot more, because what happens is they get charged up front. So people leave and come all the time because of the way it works. So I get another $1,000 or more just from people joining. And so I'll have 50 people join at $20 and 50 people leave at $20 every month, and that comes through as well. So that's only the ones that are currently subscribed right now. Now these people also, in this, I don't state it here, but in this I do give them, these people, they're willing to fork out money for your work. They're your really hardcore followers, so they will support me on Amazon as well. Some of them even buy the physical copy. And I even have a $100 one here, which doesn't actually do anything extra for them, but I have a couple of people that do this, and we just do a few of those fluffy things. And that's just for people with more money than sense, and who really want to support us, really. Most of the followers are on here. And the important things is this includes Discord rewards as well. So talking about advertising, once you build a following, one of the key things is Discord. So I haven't got Discord. I've got it mapped to, at the moment, just to Chrome. But I have a Discord channel, and in my Discord channel, I've got 500, how many? 600, between 600 and 700 people on my Discord channel. And it's not that lively, but we chat now and then. It's more about keeping up to date, where our chapters come in and things like that. And there's a questions section there. So, and some people are more lively than others. I added some bots, but Discord is important. Just like a YouTuber, it's important in developing that community. It's a really good tool for having that community. And these polls on Patreon, and I work out from the polls on Patreon. I'll just go to polls. I'll give away some more secrets. Where the readers are coming from. So you can see here that, here it's showing 3/4. This is before Amazon, so I've yet to redo this poll. So I found out that 78 patrons who've answered this poll have come from Royal Road and 26 from Web Novel. Now this is very important, because even though Royal Road is smaller, it is more lucrative because the readers there tend to come from wealthier countries. And so you can see I've got 2,700 followers on Royal Road, but they're 3/4 of the Patreons. And I've got 7,000 readers in Web Novel and the 26. But Web Novel is still worth doing if you can get the traction on there, which is not easy. It all comes down to chapters. Now, so this money here that I get from Patreon pays my rent, pays my bills. I'm able to live off this money, and it's only going up each month. It doesn't go down. Patreon has issues. Now, I did try Subscribestar just to test out if it works. Unless you host your chapters somewhere else, it just doesn't work with the chapters. I just wanted to test it out, see if it works. There are issues with Patreon, political issues and things like that. It's not good if they want to kick someone off the platform because they don't like their political views. But I really have no choice, because I tried to see if I could get Subscribestar to do the same thing. I can post chapters, but it doesn't. It's going to link them. You can't. There's no tagging. There's no way of sorting the posts. It's not made for writers. That's simple. Where Patreon works without using another platform. Some people use Google Docs, tend to then come back to here. I haven't gone as far as getting my WordPress, everything set up on WordPress. Is just too much work. I'm too busy writing to do that. But that money there, so then I was able to, so So I wrote for 18 months, thereabouts, and got enough chapters for 3 books going on 4. So I'm up to chapter 140 now. When I'm up to chapter 150, I'll have enough for 4 books. Now, this stuff here, I get feedback on. It's a first draft. Then I send that to a professional editor and get her to really go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I pay good money for that. And then we go through it again. So what goes on to Amazon is not the same as here. We fix up continuity. Because I'm 3 books ahead, I also can see continuity errors, and I can see, oh, geez, that went in a different direction. Let's fix that up. It really helps me in a lot of ways, and it's making me money at the same time. I get good feedback off the readers as well. Then we went to Amazon. So I've only been on Amazon with the first book since March 23, as you can see. So not even a month yet, and I'm quite happy. I would have liked 300 reviews, but I'm happy with 34. And I've listed the second book, which is going to come out. It's with the editor now, and she's nearly finished. So I'll have this up in plenty of time for the release date, which is the May the 15th, which I've still got almost a month up my sleeve. So that won't be an issue at all. And when I do that, I'll have to pull it off Royal Road, blah, blah, blah. Now, these covers, I spent a bit of money getting a cover, but it wasn't working for me. So I've actually gone to Shutterstock, picked images that I like, and then had the graphic designer put on a good title on them. Okay, so we could talk a little bit about Amazon, but and how to set that up. There's a few things here. I think the strategy with Amazon is you're better off having a series of books, whether it's 3 or 4, rather than a standalone book. And then you have the first 2 books at least, or minimum 1 on KU, have it free. And then when people start getting into the series, then they'll buy book 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. But you could even make the first book 99 cents or whatever. Just get people into the series and then along. And some people say, oh, hey, book 5 of the series didn't sell well at all, but if I bring a new one out of something else, it sells a lot more. But they're discounting the fact that if someone starts with the first book, you've just sold them 5 books if they really love the series. And with anything, if it's not a good series, they will not stay. It all comes down to how good your writing is. And that's why these other websites are good too, because in the meantime, you can hone your craft and you can get better. And this is not even my first story. I did another story called Hardcore Keywords first. And I wrote, say, 600,000 words on that. And no, I didn't. I wrote 300,000 words on that. And now I'm on 480,000 words of this one. So I worked really hard on another book first. So that's where we got to Amazon. Now, other websites. Wattpad. So if you look at Wattpad, big on romance, 1.5 million views on this, 63,000 followers. That's the number 1, of course. Look at fantasy on Wattpad. 413 views, 77 followers. Let's see if there's any here that have got any substantial numbers. 42,000. So really Wattpad is the opposite of Royal Road. Now, I don't know anyone, not many people have had much success on Wattpad. In fact, Wattpad authors, I know a few Wattpad authors who have gone to web novel and making money on web novel. I wouldn't recommend being a web novel contracted author, though. You're much better off doing the free Patreon Amazon. You make a lot more money. Okay, here's a friend of mine. His name's Wiz. Very popular on web novel, much more popular than I am. He's ranked 4 at the moment in Power Stone ratings. He started off with another novel there that was contracted, and this is his non-contracted one. So he's doing quite well with this one. Now, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, he used my system. So he said to me, I like your system, I'm going to use it. And so he went and he put the same novel onto Royal Road, because I said to him, I get most of my followers off Royal Road. And he's got 500,000 views already. He's got, look how many chapters he has. So he's only posted this a month ago. But he had written, as you can see here, you could probably say he had 40, 50 chapters up his sleeve before he did post it on here. But that gave him a good impetus. And how many followers he's got. He's got 2,600 followers, so he'll have a lot more followers here. I don't have his followers numbers here, but he'll have a lot more. Look, he's over 2 million views already for 75 chapters. So he'll have a lot more followers. He'll have like 10,000 followers here. Okay, so now he's going to take that to Patreon, and on Patreon, he writes different stories than I do, writing sci-fi. He's writing that's his Patreon link there as well. He's writing I thought it was Lit RPG. We should have a look at his tags. Okay, so it's Portal Fantasy. So it's Ozeki. So he's transported to another world. Game lit. So he does have lit RPG aspects to it. Low fantasy. Superhero. So it's everything. It's everything. He's ticking all the boxes. So this Patreon link will be on every chapter. Is he doing any author notes? He's not doing any author's notes. He should put something in here in case people rip it. And his Patreon, it's got 232 Patreons, right? So he would be getting 4,000 US a month to 5,000 US a month on that. Now, he's used the same system. $2 a month, access to 2 advanced chapters. $5 a month, access to 4. As you can see, it just goes up and up and up and up. So, his average is probably 20. So $20, 16 advanced chapters. And his chapters are about 2,000 words each. So mine are much better value. If you watch this video with my chapters, my Patreon is a lot better value than yours. So you should really, up your game, mate. Up it. Okay, so, and he hasn't put this on, and he's got Discord as well. He hasn't put this on Amazon yet, but he's already making enough money to sustain himself and the Amazon. He will take the followers from Web Novel and from Roll Road, and they will give him a massive boost when he launches on Amazon. A massive boost. Better than any advertising. In fact, I've looked. I don't want to give anyone negative talk down on anyone, but I have looked at people who have signed an agent, who have got a publisher, who are not doing as well as people who are using this system. And they're on Amazon, and they're only getting, let's say Amazon pays 70% when you do the full hog, and then 30% if they're not getting the full hog, or 35, is it 35? So 35%, whatever, 35%, and they're not getting that 35%. They're getting 10 or 20% of that 35%. They might have a deal where they get 10% of print and 20% of ebooks, and so they're getting 20% off 35%. So of the book sale, they're only getting even if the book is like $10, which is expensive. So it's 35, so 350. So they're getting like 70 cents, and they're not selling as well, where we get the full hog. So this is the system. The system is, and these things are apps. So if you go look at Web Novel, it's going to app. Railroad will be on an app soon. Wattpad is on an app. So people are reading these books on their phones as well. There's another one called Creative Novels. There's many. I haven't even covered them all. There's one called Creative Novels. There's Moonquill. There's another one called Scribble Hub, but these are smaller. The Moonquill and the Creative Novels, if you look, the top one is 162,000 views. So in comparison, it's a lot smaller, and that's not too bad. That's nothing to sneeze at. And Web Novel is another one as well. And these ones actually pay views and things like that as well. But compared to size and scope of World Road and Web Novel, these are new people trying to enter this market. But I just wanted to point out that there's more than Wattpad. There's more than Web Novel, Royal Road, Wattpad. These things. There's more than I've even pointed out here. So that's it. That's quite the nutshell of everything I wanted to say in this video to talk about how to go from writing for yourself, post it online, and post your stories online, get some feedback, make some money, improve your writing, build a following, take that following to Patreon, then take that following to Amazon, and it's better than any other advertising you could possibly do.